We've got breaking news in the NBA. The Cleveland Cavaliers have fired head coach JB Bickerstaff. Shortly after the Cavs were eliminated by the Boston Celtics in the second round of the playoffs, The Athletic released a report detailing dysfunction between Bickerstaff and the players, including Donovan Mitchell, as well as tensions with team president Koby Altman. Now Bickerstaff is out after 4 full seasons in Cleveland, where he led the Cavs to the playoffs in each of the past 2 seasons. Let's bring in NBA reporter Sam Quinn to discuss. Sam, I got to be honest, when I'm looking at the numbers here, I mean, 170 and 159, a couple of playoff runs there for the Cavs, and the organization feels like this is the right move. Do you agree? Is this sort of how we get Cleveland back into basketball prominence here by making another coaching change?
Yeah, I think it was the right call. Ultimately, look, there were the problems later in the seasons as their records declined after the All-Star break. There were the offensive schematic issues. Obviously, they have roster problems where they have too many small guards, too many bigs, not enough wings. But more than anything, once you get a report that a coach has lost the locker room, it's nearly impossible to come back from that. Obviously, we've seen a lot of reporting. There was that great story from The Athletic right after they were eliminated. It just didn't seem like the players on the team and the front office, too, were in a position where they were going to be excited to have Bickerstaff back. Once a coach doesn't have buy-in, it really doesn't matter what they're doing schematically. At that point, it's time to move on.
Yeah, I'm reading from the press release that the Cavaliers just put out. They said, quote, "Decisions like these are never easy, particularly when you look back at where this franchise rebuild started under his leadership." So he clearly did a lot of good things, but not enough to get Cleveland to where they want to be. That being said, as we look ahead to the future here, a couple of things to address, starting with who is going to replace Bickerstaff. So do you have any guys who maybe are on the radar? I know we've seen a couple of guys between Kenny Atkinson and James Borrego, but who are you looking at?
Yeah, Atkinson and Borrego are probably the 2 early names that make the most sense. This is not a team that's going to want to rebuild. They're not going to be looking at first-year head coaches in the way they might have a few years ago when the roster was a bit younger. They want to win now. And Atkinson and Borrego, look, they haven't had the playoff success, but they've also never had rosters as, talented as this Cavs team is right now. I think both of them acquitted themselves very well considering the talent they had in Brooklyn and Charlotte, respectively. I think they both make plenty of sense as candidates. You might go outside the box. I mean, look, we've heard J.J. Redick for just about every job that's opened up during this cycle. I would imagine they'd give him a look as well. But Atkinson and Borrego, as creative, offensive-minded coaches, offense was the focus of a lot of that story in The Athletic about where the frustration from the players were coming from. Kenny Atkinson ran a really innovative pick-and-roll offense in Brooklyn that had a lot of success during the D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie era. James Borrego didn't have the talent in Charlotte to do what he could do in Cleveland, but that's a high ball movement offense. They always overperformed relative to expectations. I think both of them would be good fits, and they're going to have competition. James Borrego and Kenny Atkinson are both on the radar for the Lakers, so they're going to have to move quickly if they want to secure one of these guys.
Of course, another big topic that they're going to have to secure is Donovan Mitchell's future in Cleveland. I know we've seen talks of people trying to ship him out of Cleveland already, but he still has a decision to make in terms of where he wants to play in the future. I'm curious, Sam, how much will this coaching decision impact Mitchell's future with the Cavs?
I think all the way back to 2010 when the Cavs fired Mike Brown, changed GMs, Danny Ferry got fired because LeBron James was an impending free agent. Cleveland has tended to be very proactive as far as making changes for the sake of satisfying stars. They fired David Blatt, promote Ty Lue. How'd that work out? The reporting from The Athletic was that Donovan Mitchell maybe wasn't super sold on JB Bickerstaff as a long-term coach. I would imagine that Mitchell was consulted before any decision here was made. All of the reporting thus far, all of the sentiment has been that Cleveland is more optimistic about re-signing Donovan Mitchell than the rest of the league has been for the past few years. They think they have a real shot at keeping him. Letting him consult on a coaching hire is probably an indication that he's at least considering staying put. So right now, whoever they hire, I have to imagine, would have to get the stamp of approval from Donovan Mitchell.
1 year remaining on his current contract. So, again, some big decisions to be made. Sam Quinn helping us react to the news that the Cavs are moving on from JB Bickerstaff. Sam, thanks so much for hanging out with us. You heard him give some of his potential coaching prospects for this organization going forward. Here's a look at who's available. Of course, the Lakers are on the move looking for a new head coach after they let go of Darvin Ham. So he is obviously a candidate here. You also got the Suns' Frank Vogel, who was also fired earlier this offseason. So a lot of moving parts and a lot of coaches to be replaced this offseason. I am sure our crew from the Beyond the Arc podcast will have plenty of reaction to this news, as well as some reaction to what we've seen so far in conference finals. You can join Bill Ryder, Ashley Nicole Moss, and John Gonzalez on Beyond the Arc by scanning that QR code on your screen.